If you have ever picked up a small bag of coffee at a specialty cafe and noticed the price was 3 or 4 times more than what you would pay at a supermarket, you have probably asked yourself whether it is actually worth it. Specialty coffee has grown enormously in popularity over the last decade, but for a lot of people, it still feels like something reserved for coffee obsessives or people with money to spare. In this video, we are going to clear that up. We will explain what specialty coffee actually is, how it is different from regular coffee, what that difference means for what you taste in the cup, and whether the price premium is genuinely justified or just clever marketing. To understand what makes specialty coffee different, it helps to start with what most people drink every day. Regular coffee, sometimes called commodity coffee, is coffee that is bought and sold based on price rather than quality. It is traded on global commodity markets, where beans from many different farms, countries, and harvests are blended together to hit a target price point and maintain a consistent supply at scale. The goal of commodity coffee is volume, consistency, and affordability, not exceptional flavor or traceability. Defective beans, beans from different harvests, and beans of varying quality levels are all acceptable within certain limits, as long as the final blended product meets a basic marketable standard. This is the coffee that ends up in most supermarket bags, instant coffee jars, large chain coffee shops, and office coffee machines around the world. It is not necessarily bad coffee, and for many people, it is a perfectly satisfying part of their daily routine. But flavor complexity and transparency about where the coffee came from are simply not the priority. Price, consistency, and the ability to produce at scale are what commodity coffee optimizes for, and it does that job very effectively. Specialty coffee is defined by quality at every stage of the supply chain, from the farm to the roaster to the cup. The Specialty Coffee Association has a formal grading system where coffees are evaluated and scored by trained tasters called Q graders. A coffee must score 80 points or above out of 100 to be classified as specialty grade. This scoring takes into account factors like aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, body, balance, and the absence of defects. To put that in perspective, commodity coffee typically scores below 80 and often significantly lower. Specialty coffee is also defined by traceability. Rather than blending beans from many anonymous sources, specialty coffee is almost always traceable to a specific country, region, farm, or even a specific lot within a farm. This traceability matters because it allows roasters and consumers to understand exactly where the coffee came from and to support the farmers who grew it directly. The difference between specialty and regular coffee does not start at the roastery. It starts at the farm. Specialty coffee farmers invest significantly more time, skill, and resources into producing high-quality fruit. Coffee cherries are typically hand-picked at peak ripeness rather than strip harvested by machine, which means only the best fruit makes it into the processing stage. Processing is done with care and intention, often using methods like washed, natural, or honey processing that are chosen specifically to highlight the best characteristics of that particular lot. Defective or damaged beans are removed through careful sorting before the coffee is exported. By the time specialty green coffee reaches a roaster, it has already been through multiple quality checkpoints that commodity coffee simply does not go through. This level of care at origin is a large part of why specialty coffee costs more, and it is a real and meaningful difference, not just a marketing story. The most direct way to understand the difference between specialty and regular coffee is to taste them side by side. Commodity coffee tends to taste consistent and familiar, with flavors that are straightforward and easy to recognize. Bitter, roasty, and sometimes slightly harsh or flat, depending on the freshness. It does the job, and it is comfortable. Specialty coffee, particularly when it is freshly roasted and brewed well, can taste like something else entirely. Depending on the origin and processing method, a specialty coffee might taste fruity, floral, sweet, complex, or layered in a way that unfolds as it cools. You might notice notes of blueberry, jasmine, brown sugar, or citrus without anything being added to the cup. This surprises a lot of people the first time they try it, especially those who have only ever drunk commodity coffee. It can genuinely feel like a different beverage rather than just a better version of the same thing. Specialty coffee costs more, for reasons that go all the way back to the farm. Hand-picking coffee cherries at peak ripeness requires significantly more labor than machine harvesting. Careful processing and sorting takes more time and skill. Farmers who produce specialty-grade coffee often invest in better infrastructure, cleaner water sources for washing coffee, and raised drying beds that allow for more even and controlled drying. Many specialty roasters also pay above commodity market prices directly to farmers, either through direct trade relationships or certifications that guarantee a minimum price. This is not just an ethical choice, it is also a practical one, because paying more for green coffee gives roasters access to better raw material. On the roasting side, small batch roasting with careful attention to each individual origin costs more than mass roasting blends in industrial facilities. All of these costs accumulate and are reflected in the final price you pay at the shelf or the cafe counter. Whether specialty coffee is worth the price is ultimately a personal question, but there are a few ways to think about it clearly. If you drink coffee primarily as a caffeine delivery mechanism, and the flavor is secondary to the ritual, commodity coffee will serve you perfectly well, and there is genuinely no reason to spend more. But if you enjoy the flavor of coffee, appreciate complexity and variety in what you drink, or are curious about where your food and drink actually comes from, specialty coffee offers something that commodity coffee simply cannot replicate. The difference in cup quality between a freshly roasted specialty coffee brewed well at home and a standard supermarket blend is significant enough that most people notice it on the very first sip. It is not a subtle or marginal difference. It is the kind of difference that makes people reconsider what they thought they knew about coffee. On a cost-per-cup basis, specialty coffee brewed at home is also far more affordable than many people assume. A bag of specialty coffee that costs considerably more than a supermarket bag still produces many individual cups, each at a fraction of the price of ordering that same coffee at a specialty cafe. When you do the math, brewing specialty coffee at home is one of the best value upgrades you can make to your daily routine without dramatically changing your spending. If you are curious about specialty coffee but do not know where to start, the best approach is to find a local roaster or an online roaster that clearly displays roast dates on their bags and offers coffees with detailed tasting notes and origin information. Roast dates matter because specialty coffee is at its best within 2 to 4 weeks of roasting, and a roaster who displays this information is signaling that they care about freshness. Start with a medium roast from a well-known and accessible origin, like Colombia or Ethiopia, and brew it in whatever way you already brew coffee at home. Taste it black if you can, even if it is just one sip before you add milk or sugar. Pay attention to the aroma when you first open the bag, and again when the hot water first hits the grounds. Then, compare it to your usual supermarket coffee, and notice what is different. The difference in aroma alone is often enough to make people pause and realize something genuinely different is happening. You do not need expensive equipment to start appreciating specialty coffee. A French press, a basic pour-over brewer, or even a simple drip machine is more than enough to experience what makes it special. The most important variables are fresh beans, clean water, and a little attention to your brew. Specialty coffee is not just a trend or a status symbol. It is a genuinely different product that reflects a higher standard of quality at every stage from farm to cup. Whether it is worth the price depends entirely on how much the flavor and experience of your coffee matters to you. For a lot of people who try it for the first time, the question stops being whether it is worth it and starts being why they waited so long. For more guides on everything coffee, visit us at 11coffees.com. If this video helped you understand the difference, give it a like and subscribe for more coffee guides. And let us know in the comments whether you have already made the switch to specialty coffee or whether you are still on the fence.